Hi everyone, Rach here from our Stitching Realm. Welcome to Quilty Tube number 4, I think. I meant to look and I didn't. If you've just watched Floss Tube, yes, I have literally turned the camera off, rearranged the stuff and started again. I'm getting my videos out of the way today. So I am here for my kind of monthly installment on my beginner progress as a quilter. Hopefully I will have entitled this video something along the lines of more trials and errors, because that's where we're at. So where to start? The plan, I think, was to kind of make a start on the plus sign quilt, and I got as far as separating all the charm packs into their 5 same colours. How do I explain that better? I had 5 charm packs, so I basically piled each lot of colours into their sort of set of 5, because the plus sign will need the 5 colours plus 4 different ones, and they will vary based on what's going around. On that note of the plus sign, oh, I've just realised something. Anyway, that's not relevant to the video. If you have watched Soapbox Stitcher Carol's Quilty Tube video, over her left shoulder was a plus sign quilt in a lot more muted colours than what I will be doing it in. So that's what I'm aiming to do. If you haven't watched Carol Saltbox Stitcher's Quilty Tube video, I highly recommend it. Just fantastic to look at everything that she showed. She's very knowledgeable. She's a long arm quilter, I believe, so like she finishes quilts for people. She's like the other end of the scale from me. I would actually, if I remember, Rachel, note to self, link that video in the description below, and you can find it if you've never heard of her before. She does cross-stitching videos, but she has just started sharing her quilting, and hurry up Carol and put another one out. So the one over her shoulder, she said, was she reckoned the squares were 3.5 to 4 inches, which got my brain going, because obviously I was just going to be joining my 5-inch squares up and going from there. Now I'm like, is 5 inches too big? Do I need to go smaller? So I stopped at that point because I'm not sure. I do have, if you watched all the quilty videos, I've got a charm pack that I picked up cheaply somewhere, which I was sort of using as practice stuff. I went through my mind to try and do some sort of mock-up somehow. It won't be exactly identical because I don't have 5 of those charm packs. To sew up like 9 together with the plus sign in the 5-inch squares, and sew up, I don't know, 3.5 or 4 inches, a smaller size, and see. So that's one of my jobs for this next month, is to mock up the bigger size and the smaller size and see what I think before I start sewing these bigger pieces together and regressing it. So that's that. So when I hit that roadblock, I was like, okay, what shall I do now? And I was I don't know if I saw it on Facebook first or saw it on YouTube. Pat Sloan, over the course of this April, I think, was doing a jelly roll sizzle. It's probably not a challenge, it's like a sew with me sort of thing, and she had added a border to the chart that the Fat Quarter Shop had put out. So if I show you, this is the Fat Quarter Shop chart, and it is basically cutting up strips of jelly roll and then adding in pinwheels. And if I've got here, have I got a picture? so you can kind of see what the border will look like. So there are actually, in the Jelly Roll Sizzle chart, there are pinwheels there, must be here, and it all sort of ties in together quite nicely. And I thought, well, I've got jelly rolls, I can do that. So I pulled out a precious Hustle and Bustle, and I sewed my strips together in, so you sew 2 lengths of jelly roll together and then cut them down. So let me get the right thing first of all to show you. I don't have enough table space, so we'll just take one. So there are my strips, and I've got a whole pile of them, enough to make 12 blocks. I laid my strips out on the floor into a pattern whereby the colour was distributed well. Oh goodness, there's a jolly big truck out there. And any directional stuff was in the right direction really, or minimised if it had to be turned 90 degrees. For the pinwheels, I'm using a grunge. In fact, I tootled off to one of the 2 quilt shops we have here in our little town that I know has grunge, and she helped me pick out 3 colours of grunge. So we went for red for the pinwheel, a lighter green for the border, and a darker green for the binding. And I've got backing fabric already, so those were my pinwheels. And I went and proceeded to put together that. I made 4 of them, and then I came to line them up, and this is not going to be lined up properly because I'm doing it back to front. And what do I discover? Can you see? Can you see? They're not square. I don't know how I'm going to show it to you without there is, you can see there is a good inch. It's exaggerated because it's not flat. Does it show? I won't really know until. So that is how far I have got with the Jelly Roll Sizzle, because I've now got issues with not being square, and I can't square the block because of these pinwheel corners. So I have got 4 of these done. The first row is done. I have been mulling along in my head how best I deal with this, and I have got 2 options. First of all, I went through and had a look at these, and I looked at my seams, and my seams are 1/4 of an inch, but they must be a bit more than 1/4 of an inch for it to end up being, because this should come out at 12.5 by 4.5, and this is coming at 4 1/4. So I've obviously overestimated my 1/4 of an inch seam, and that's consistent basically across the board. So the way that I am remedying this is that I'm either going to take the center, oh goodness, there are so many colours here we can't even figure it out. That might be easy enough to show on this one. So I will either take out the center strip and reuse those and just literally join these all together. So I'll have the blocks without the pinwheels, and then put a little bit of sashing between around each block with cornerstones in the red. That's option 1. Option 2, but I can't visualize it to know, is to carry on like this, but you'll just end up with a diagonal line going through the quilt rather than a pinwheel, and I don't know if that would look too silly. Otherwise I'm not sure. Yeah, those are my two options, and I'm not sure what which way I will go. Probably the plainer of the two, option one, which is just join the remaining 3 lines together by pulling out the 4 middle 2. That will give me 1 block and 1 more line and I've got enough leftover strips. Basically you get 3, you get a block out of a double strip. Does that make sense? 2 bits done together, you get 1 block. So I only need 4 more lengths of jelly roll, which I have got, and I can then make the remaining. So I'll end up with a 3x4 lines with a light green sashing, red cornerstones, and then the yeah, I'm getting stuck then from where I go from there. Help me. What do you what would be your remedy? Probably a lot of you wouldn't have got to the point where you discovered that it wasn't right in the first place. You'd have figured that out quicker than I did. So yeah, I mean, I'm too gung-ho sometimes. I think I'm getting too far ahead and I need to pull back more to basics, which is why I'm leaning to option 1 rather than having this line through the quilt, because you could easily misalign that and then there could be problems with that. So that is probably what I'm going to do. I also have a bunch of these offcuts, which no, that's the other stuff, but you know, I've got a whole load of these, which is all what was left over from cutting down the strips. So I will put those to use at some point. I've saved the cut off bits from putting on the pinwheel, so I've got plain and I've got coloured. So I will keep this little pile along with these strip sets that I pull apart, and at some point make some sort of scrappy something with it all, because I don't want to waste this hustle and bustle. I have got more of it, but you know, it's not cheap to buy and bring into New Zealand, so I don't really want to waste it. So do you think that's the right way to do it? Just join them up. It'll be a 6 lines in the block, some light green grunge sashing, some red cornerstones, 3x4 layout. It's just what I do around the outer edge I'm not sure about. So it must have to have a light green band around the edge with the cornerstones. Does that sound right? Maybe I should go back to basics. I don't know. So that's where we're at, you know. Like everything, I get started and then something puts a pause on it. So, okay, I've still been buying. So what I was hoping to have arrived by the last video but didn't, I think that's right, is something that I ordered from the Fat Quarter shop. So sometime in either late March or early April they had a sale on some of the kits. They were 40% off. I heard about this in the Facebook group or on Facebook, and I went and had a look and I saw 2 things that I liked, and then I said to myself, you don't really need them. Plus I wasn't that interested in the actual pattern of the quilt. So I stepped away and I slept on it, and the next morning I went and looked again because I didn't know if it was a 24-hour sale or if it was for a longer time, and it was actually for a longer time. So I looked at it the next morning and everything was still on sale, and I'm like, you don't have to make the pattern. You could just get the kits and get the material, because I mean it's 40% off. It's amazing. So and I like the boxes. So I have got this little kit. So this is the flea market table runner. Kit includes fabric and pattern to make the flea market table runner, which is 30 by 62. Backing fabric and notions not included. So what you get in this little box, which way does it open? Oh, I do like these boxes. So you've got your pattern. In this I have got two charm packs of the Flea Market fabric by Laurie Holt. This length, I'm not sure does it actually tell you how much it is. So this is the binding. I'm not sure how much of it there is. I really like it. And then you've got background fabric, and this is a wodge of background fabric, and I really like this one. So it's all Laurie Holt fabric. Look how much there is. It's massive. I don't want to undo it because it won't all go back in the box. So that was the reason why I went ahead with this. Is there's no way I could buy a background, binding, charm packs for the same amount that this quilt was on, this kit was on sale for. So I went ahead and did it, and interestingly I think the next Quilty Tube that Kimberly Jolly did, she said the same thing. You don't have to do what the quilt is, just get the stuff and add it to your stash. So that's the only thing is you don't know where the front is. So that's box 1. Box 2 is this one, and this is Flea Market Window Quilt Kit. Quilt size 56 by 72. To be fair, I actually do like it, but there is absolutely no way that I could make that currently. So in this box, again, we've got the pattern. We've got 2 more charm packs of Flea Market. This is the binding material, which is very pretty flowers. This is the background. I'm not so keen on it, but I've got a wodge of it, so it will have to be used. And then you also get a layer cake of the Flea Market. I apologise, it's upside down. So, and this is a lot of the fabrics, I'm thinking. Yeah, so this is the fabric in the collection. I don't know when this came out. 2020, according to the date on the back of that. So I just thought, as I have said, that it's a good way to build up some Laurie Holt stash, because again, you just wouldn't be able to buy those components separately and save as much money as you save by buying the quilt kit. So the only other stash that I have was a trip to one of the quilting stores to look for something, and they had the new Three Sisters collection, which is a very blue collection, and they did have the charm packs, and I'm like, I don't know if I wanted all blue. I wasn't sure, but they also had some, I'm assuming these are fat quarters, I haven't opened them because they're folded so nicely, some fat quarters of the fabric, and I really liked this fabric. So I got 2, there are 2 fat quarters here, and I really liked this fabric. So again, I got 2 fat quarters of that. Yeah, I mean, I really like this a lot. I'm tempted to get more of that. And then in another display they had Liberty fabric, and I saw that. I really liked that. Can you see the bunnies on the... Don't look at me, look at the bunnies. There we go. And this actually works out quite nicely together, those 3 different cuts of fabric. So I've got no plans for that. I just decided to buy them. Okay, so that is what I have for show and tell. Nothing really decent to hold up. Going forward for May, so I would like to work on the mock-up sizes for the plus size quilt, and I'll also do a little bit more research online. The ones that I've seen, just check what the sizing of those patterns are. I've got some pages saved on my iPad, and then I will try and also make some headway with this pile of trial and error. And I think that's probably enough of a goal for me at the moment. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Thanks for watching my videos. If you've got any helpful hints for anything I've shown today, feel free to drop them below. I will try and remember to link Carol's Quilty Tube video down below. And have a good month sewing, and I will catch you again in about a month's time with what we have managed to do this month. Okay, thanks everyone, bye for now.